Hello and welcome to the reading of the beginning of Prometheus Ascending, the third book in my trilogy, and I really hope you enjoy it. If you do, head over to Amazon or your favorite store or just my website devwink.com/Prometheus to get the whole trilogy. And now, without further ado, let's get started. Because we freely love, as in our will, to love or not, in this we stand or fall. John Milton, Paradise Lost. This was the end of life we took as a given for too long. Even when I closed my eyes, I could not escape the alarming images. In my mind, they fought for attention, one worse than the other. All the scenarios of what would go wrong, all the people that would die. I heard their screams inside my head, tortured, murdered, raped. But there was something else, a premonition that something even more awful was to come. Something that would make this scenario pale in comparison. My body shivered. I was barely aware of how I collapsed to my knees and frantically held my head in my hands. Adama. It was her voice. The only voice that would tear me from my nightmare, from what I had become, from the fate that pulled me with its claws, beckoned me to let go of sanity. Adama. I had to save her. This was the thought that kept me alive, at least the human part of me. She took my hands. Her skin felt cold and sweaty, her fingernails trimmed short but caked with grit. "It'll be okay. We just need to get out of here," she whispered. Her voice sounded coarse. Rahab. When her hands gently touched my skin, my vision exploded again. I saw an endless abyss of pain, her pain. It ate my heart like acid. She drowned in it, choking, stretching her hand out in a desperate attempt to escape. I needed to save her, not from the surrounding nightmare, but from this pain that ate her slowly, seamlessly. The pain of losing everything and everyone. Her son, her husband, her home. But was I able to? I opened my eyes and stared into the darkness. Pure, all-consuming darkness. Chaos reigned around us. The global city of London had lost all electricity. The border was no longer intact. We had crossed the threshold of what used to be a digital wall of ones and zeros between the outer areas and global London, somewhere at a city called Banbury. I leaned against the wall of a building that was some kind of real estate agency. The stone felt cold and moist against my palm. The huge metal pillars of the border stood against the night sky, visible behind the buildings of the little high street, filled with inns, pubs and shops, some of them still from the 16th and 17th centuries, with carved arches and timber porches. Had I been here once? Something about famous Banbury cakes lit up in the back of my mind, from my early student years. Outcries came from the pub at the other end of the corner. Two sub-soldiers dragged out two shapes into the street. Their faces were unrecognizable in the darkness, and I only spotted the sub-soldiers as such because they wore dark linen and a piece of cloth over nose and mouth. And they used knives. The blade was always their preferred weapon of choice, because it caused more pain and a slow death. One of them slit the throat of his victim while the other winced from the pain of being stabbed in the chest and stomach. Rahab pulled Amber close and turned her face away from the scene, but the wailing and weeping could still be heard all around us, in the pubs, the homes and the streets. The sub-army attacked like a horde of mad, hungry dogs. If only Björn could see what he had wreaked with his virus he had released into the entire system. He was ready to kill me if not for Manasseh, who, with his last breath, spared me the fate he took on instead. Lead them out of darkness, Adama. These were his last words, the last testament of a monster.